Welcome to This Explainer. Look, today we are bridging the gap between ancient mysticism and hardcore modern neuroscience, and we're diving straight into the fascinating world of the pineal gland. Our ultimate goal here is to help you understand exactly what this mysterious little organ is, what it actually does, and how you can actively use it to reclaim your highest potential. To do that, we're going to move through 5 key steps today. First, we'll meet the pineal gland. Then we'll look at the calcification problem, move into biochemical decalcification, cover lifestyle and brain detox, and finally, wrap up with meditative activation techniques. All right, section 1, meet the pineal gland. Let's start with the basics of what is sitting right inside your head. So meet your pineal gland. Biologically speaking, it's this tiny pinecone-shaped endocrine gland buried deep right in the center of your brain. Think of it as a factory. It pumps out melatonin, which is crucial for regulating your sleep cycles and protecting your brain from inflammation, but it's also known to produce DMT, a wildly powerful neurotransmitter. Now, spiritually, this exact same biological structure has been revered for literally thousands of years across cultures as the third eye. It's essentially viewed as the physical gateway to higher states of consciousness, deep intuition, and even psychic abilities. And what's really fascinating about this is just how universal the concept actually is. I mean, from ancient Egyptian and Greek traditions all the way to the 17th century philosopher René Descartes, who famously called it the seat of the soul, the consensus has pretty much always been there. Even modern neuroscientists like Rick Strassman refer to the pineal gland's chemical output as the inner doorway to expanded consciousness. People everywhere recognize this as the biological portal to the divine. Moving on to section 2, the calcification problem, which is our modern threat. Here is the huge problem we're facing today. For most modern adults, this beautiful biological portal is totally blocked. There's a clear divide in how this is viewed, too. Mainstream medicine often spots pineal calcification, but basically dismisses it as just passive aging. They say, well, it happens, but it doesn't really matter. Holistic medicine, on the other hand, recognizes this calcification as a massive energetic and biological blockage. It creates this calcium shell that's linked to emotional numbness, absolutely ruined sleep cycles, and a total severing of your intuition. And make no mistake, guys, this isn't some made-up spiritual metaphor. It is a clinical reality. We are talking about hard calcium phosphate crystals depositing directly into your soft brain tissue. You might literally have a tiny stone forming in the center of your head right now. This calcification is so real that it is highly visible on standard CT scans. Your gland is physically hardening. So you're probably wondering, what on earth is causing this? Well, the biggest culprits are just part of our everyday modern environment. Fluoride is a massive antagonist. It aggressively binds to the natural minerals, the hydroxyapatite crystals that are already in the pineal gland. Then you've got excessive sugar. Not only does it saturate the blood and pull calcium from your bones, but it causes insulin resistance, and that resistance restricts oxygen and blood flow, quite literally suffocating the gland. Throw in processed fats that trigger neuroinflammation, and you've got a perfect storm for calcification. To put that into perspective, the impact of this is just staggering. Animal studies show that fluoride damage alone can lead to a 50 to 75% reduction in melatonin production. Think about that. By middle age, your pineal output could be a fraction of what it's supposed to be, keeping you trapped in terrible sleep cycles and, honestly, a state of spiritual darkness. Section 3, biochemical decalcification. How do we reverse this damage? Reversing this isn't about popping a magic pill, it's about fundamentally rebuilding your calcium handling system. You need vitamin K2 and magnesium to grab that misplaced calcium from your brain and direct it back to your bones. You can use iodine, but be sure to pair it carefully with selenium to safely flush out that excess fluoride. And incorporating things like raw, unheated cacao is a game changer. It provides essential zinc, magnesium, and tryptophan, which your body absolutely needs for melatonin and DMT synthesis. But here is the absolute crucial point. Even if your calcium intake is flawless, you have to calm the inflammation in your brain. There's this danger sensor in your immune cells called the NLRP3 inflammasome. When it gets activated by a bad diet or terrible sleep, it triggers severe neuroinflammation, which just supercharges that mineral deposition. To quiet this down, you want to consume polyphenols. Think quercetin from capers and apples or curcumin from turmeric. Essentially, you have to put out the fire before you can rebuild the house. Section 4, lifestyle and brain detox. Let's talk about the cleanup crew. Enter the glymphatic system. This is your brain's dedicated, built-in waste clearance network. It flushes out all those damaged proteins and inflammatory byproducts that cause the calcification to stick around in the first place. But here's the catch, and it's a big one. The glymphatic system really only ramps up its flushing process during deep, slow-wave sleep. Because it relies so heavily on deep sleep, your daily light habits directly dictate your brain's ability to detox. So doom scrolling on your phone at 1 a.m., yeah, that's suppressing your melatonin even more than a calcified gland does. Getting morning sunlight, completely avoiding bright overhead lights at night, and getting to sleep before midnight are absolute non-negotiables. Pair those sleep habits with limiting your fluoride exposure and doing some resistance training, which literally gives your calcium a structural reason to enter your bones, and you've just created the perfect environment for pineal healing. Section 5, Meditative Activation Techniques. Time to finally open that third eye. So your biochemistry is optimized, your sleep is dialed in, and the calcification is lifting. Now you're ready to actively turn this thing on. We can systematically shift your brain waves from an ordinary, everyday beta state into expanded theta and gamma states using biological protocols like the 4-step sequence from Brian Scott and our sources. It starts with eye movement activation, literally moving your eyes to specific quadrants to trigger new neural pathways. Then you focus on chakra coherence, basically harmonizing your body's energy centers from the root all the way up to the crown, building a stable, high-frequency foundation. Next up is the physical activation through breathing. You use a sacred pattern of 3, inhaling for 3 seconds, holding for 3, exhaling for 3. While you do this, you forcefully squeeze your pelvic floor muscles. Imagine pulling physical energy and cerebrospinal fluid up your spine like you're sucking it through a straw. You hold that intense mechanical pressure right in the center of your brain. That sustained physical pressure against the pineal gland is exactly what sparks the profound neurochemical shift. While you're maintaining this highly elevated state, our sources suggest gently massaging your forehead, your physical third eye, while visualizing a powerful divine purple light descending into that space. As you do this, state your intention. Affirm out loud that you're releasing all physical and historical blocks and opening yourself strictly to beings and messages of love and light. Setting that frame is crucial to prevent any fear-based experiences. So, what does this actually look like when it works? What can you do with an activated pineal gland? Well, you won't experience terrifying illusions, I promise. Instead, your intuition becomes this effortless radar guiding you toward abundance. Life suddenly starts happening for you. You'll begin to notice incredible synchronicities, like constantly seeing 1111 everywhere. Your sleep becomes deeply restorative, hormones balance out, and you unlock incredibly vibrant lucid dreams. You basically tap into a universal intelligence. When you combine the hardcore science with the spiritual practice, the results are just undeniable. The tools to reclaim your biology, lower neuroinflammation, and actively open that inner doorway to expanded consciousness are literally sitting right in your hands. You now know what the pineal gland is, the massive impact it has on your life, and exactly how to activate it. So I'll leave you with this. What are you waiting for? Are you ready to wake up?